Good evening and welcome to Let's Talk Business. I'm Priyanshi Sharma. In this show, we'll get you the top news stories from the world of business, finance and economics. Let's first start with how the markets performed today. Well, benchmark indices rallied to end the financial year on a positive note. Banking and IT services led the surge. The Sensex and Nifty closed at their highest levels for the first time in 3 weeks. Sensex closed by up 1,032 points at 58,991 points, while Nifty jumped 279 points to end at 17,359. Let's go across to my colleague Neeraj Shah in the BQ Prime newsroom. And Neeraj, take us through what all happened in the market today, a wrap of all the market action.
Thanks, Priyanshi. Well, if you're a bull, then you couldn't ask for a better day in the month of March. It was, in fact, the best one-day gain since March 3rd, 2023. So you kind of had a similar day in March, but this was quite spectacular because it was the last day of the month of March. It led to the Nifty and the Bank Nifty turning positive for the month of March. They were running negative all this while, so that's a key stat too. And by the way, for a lot of stocks individually, this was a great day. I mean, Reliance, the best days in a number of months. For Infosys and IT has been in a bit of a bear move, so to say. The shares were up the most in 20 weeks. Jubilant Foodworks, the shares were up the most in 9 months. So that's the kind of move that we had in the markets today. So what led the move? Reliance Industries, by a margin, the leader today, 4.5% on the corporate activity that happened announced in yesterday's session, the demerger of Jio Financial Services. So that stock really went up. All this while people are wondering that so many brokerages are speaking so positively about it. What would lead to the stock finally moving? Well, it needed a corporate event, but it did move. The rest, ICICI Bank, strong move. Infosys, strong move. So these are the names which are heavyweights and they participated in the session today. So that was a really good thing. Aside of that, it was known from the start that it will be a day which will belong to defense stocks because a bunch of defense companies got orders. So BEL, BDL, Cochin Shipyard, Garden Reach Shipbuilders, all of these did really well. A sugar company expanded capacity, Sri Renuka, that stock did really well. Viatech Vabag, a JV led by the company, got the highest order it's ever gotten. That stock was up 5%. So it was a day that frankly belonged to the gainers. Only 3 stocks in the Sensex were in the red. However, just very quickly, before we wrap up, what's to be watched out for? Remember, Eurozone inflation numbers have looked okay, but core inflation there has moved higher and the European markets have rallied quite a bit in the last few days. So watch out for any adverse movements there. If at all they come, then they could impact our markets on Monday. Oil prices have risen and that could be a bugbear of sorts. And we have our own RBI MPC decision next Thursday. And what the Reserve Bank of India decides on interest rates, if they are not too hawkish, then that's a tailwind. But if they are hawkish, then that's a bit of a headwind. So that's to be watched out for. With that, it's back to you.
Right, Neeraj, thanks very much for joining us with those details. And while we're on the subject of markets, Reliance Industries was buzzing in trade today after it initiated the process to demerge its financial services business into Reliance Strategic Investments and rechristen it Jio Financial Services. This comes after the National Company Law Tribunal had given its nod to Reliance to seek creditor and shareholder nod for the demerger. My colleague Sajith Mangat joins us for more details on this. And Sajith, tell us more about why Reliance Industries was buzzing today.
Reliance Industries will seek approval from the creditors and shareholders on May 2nd for the demerger of the financial services business. This comes after the NCLT approved in principle the demerger process and sought Reliance Industry to seek these approvals. The Jio Financial Services will house digital financial or fintech businesses of Reliance Industries. It will comprise of 4 or 5 businesses, which includes Reliance Industrial Investments and Holdings. This is a subsidiary which will hold the treasury shares of Reliance Industries, Reliance Payment Solutions, Jio Payment Bank, Reliance Retail Finance, Reliance Information Aggregator Services, and Reliance Retail Insurance Broking business as well. JFS or the Geo Financial Services will have a total base of over 27,000 crores. The value per share based on the assets comes to nearly 44 rupees, and the Reliance treasury stock, which is held by one of the subsidiaries, at a 50% discount comes to roughly around 72.6 per share. In total, the value of the total Geo Financial Services upon listing is expected to be around 116 odd rupees. Now, this all things will take a couple of days, because first approvals from the shareholders will come on May 2nd, followed by it will have to go back to the NCLT for the final approval, and hopefully by September 2023, Geo Financial Services should be listed on both the stock exchanges.
Thanks very much for joining us, Ajit. Now, moving on to the other big story, the centre unveiled the much-awaited foreign trade policy. The new policy focuses on the internationalization of trade in rupees, and it will come into effect starting tomorrow. My colleague Janani joins us with more details on this. And Janani, take us through the highlights of the new foreign trade policy.
The new foreign trade policy 2023 was announced today. Two clear markers here at the outset. Policy direction has moved from incentive-based approach to a remission-based approach. And no more 5-year targets. Targets will be dynamic. The last target segment was 2015 to 2020, which got extended until 31st March 2022. Listing out some key highlights here: application fee reduction for MSMEs in terms of CIF value or duty saved. 4 towns of export excellence have been announced. There are already 39 such towns. Faridabad, Moradabad, Varanasi and Mirzapur will join this list. FTP benefits will also be extended to e-commerce operators. Value limit per consignment has been increased from 5 lakh to 10 lakhs. SCOMET, which is special chemicals, organisms, materials, equipment and technology, will be streamlined for export items of dual use. The more interesting one in terms of a new amnesty scheme that is in place for one-time settlement for default of export obligation. Rupee trade will also be accepted under the FTP now. We've learned from the Finance Ministry that 30 Vostro accounts exist and 18 countries have shown interest. Bringing the rupee trade option here highlights a clear intention to promote it wherever feasible. That's all we have for you now. Stay tuned for more updates.
Thanks, Janani, very much for joining us with those details. And that's all we have for you in this edition of Let's Talk Business. But do tune in every Monday to Friday to catch the latest business news. Thank you. Goodbye.